should neutralize this thing before it does damage.
The truth hangs heavy upon the air itself. The truth hangs heavy upon the air itself, unspoken. This is the point of no return. Somewhere beyond this point, you shall be undone, or you shall ascend. There is no middle ground. The truth hangs heavy upon the air itself, unspoken. This is the point of no return. Somewhere beyond this point, you shall be undone, or you shall ascend. There is no middle ground.
Come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source blood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. I think you'll need it. You'd think, right? But no, this is your moment. Still, do not underestimate my presence. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. So, I will pray for you. Your heart and soul will fill as quickly as they're drained. Consider it a taste of your divine future. The people will pray for you. In turn, they'll trust you to do right by them, as I'm trusting you to do now. Of course, it's up to you whether or not to listen. I know how I'd respond, but you do you.
Melody wearily chuckles to herself, then bows her head in a show of unexpected but sincere reverence.
Looks like my investment's paid off after all.
I need worship only one divine, and I believe he stands before me now.
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is the least I can offer.
Now go. Rivellon needs a new divine.
Garbage.
Godwoken. Dallas told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so far. Your divine welcomes you.
The divine you thought dead lords over the chamber from a granite throne. He moves to speak, but it's Vredeman's voice that next pierces the air.
What a twist.
Lucian frowns at Vredeman, then bestows a benevolent smile upon you. All that you know of him flashes across the panorama of your mind.
I underestimated you, Godwoken. You have proven to be a formidable foe. You have my respect.
Respect? Indeed.
Lucian's gaze rests upon you and goes through you. He takes your measure entirely.
Lucian, we should tell him the truth.
Yes, I agree. It is time we dropped our masks.
Dallas nods, then reaches for the sides of her head. Where there was one face, suddenly there are four. She takes off the mask of the shapeshifter. A skull is revealed, bejeweled and ancient as the void.
I am eternal.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
Fear not, Godwoken. Dallas is on the side of all that is good. She is helping me rid Rivellon of the influence of the Source. Listen to her.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of Source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the Source they stole from the Veil. The 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
During their lives, worshippers collect Source. When they die, the gods feed from them. It's an ingenious system.
Our souls are nothing but vats for the Source-hungry gods.
The 7 made a mistake. By taking its source, they tore a hole in the veil, and it is through this hole that the void finds its way into our world.
The 7's lust for power let in the void. Our goal is to close the hole they created, to restore the Source to the veil. When we are done, there shall be no more Source in the world. Rivellon will be finally free from the gods that enslave them.
My people cannot be allowed to return from the void. They are tarnished. They are void-woken. They can only bring chaos and death and...
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she must.
I was a child when the God King tore my family apart. I was purged of Source and left to rot in a putrid tomb. A child. It was hell. A hell I suffered for the sins of my father. He was the one that betrayed the God King. He was the one that told the 7 the secrets of the Veil. The cruel joke of it all is that the same tomb that housed my tortured body is what sheltered me from the void. Few Eternals escaped that fate. Myself, my mother, and Fane. Yes, Fane is my father.
What? It can't be. Everything Dallas did, it was all you. Child.
Everything I did to fix your mistake. Our people. Every purged sorcerer. Every dead magister. All those weeping families. They're on your head, Father. But now I have revenge. Revenge on the Seven and the God King. Revenge for what they took from me. My life. My people. My mother!
The hammer's voice falters and her coolness vanishes. Every crack and rasp betrays her grief, but her next words burn not with sadness, but anger.
Did you even look for me? Did you even look for her?
Bad HTML, bad HTML non si può vedere, però va bene.
Dallas, control yourself. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
Yes. You are right.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question. All that ever mattered to me was peace. Peace for Rivellon. Peace for me, whatever the means. And now, we are on the precipice.
She sacrificed herself for the betterment of Rivellon. She didn't do it willingly, mind you. Curiosity led her to the tomb. My hunger for source took care of the rest. I presume her bones remained there. And then I took her place. Face rippers are such marvels, aren't they? It didn't take long to realize that Lucian was the key to my vengeance, and I was the key to the salvation of Rivellon.
While Dallas sought the Aetheran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
One more word from you, and I shall use the leash.
I had to hide from the gods. So I had the walls of this crypt equipped with tenebrium and protections put in place. It worked. Everyone, even the gods, thought me dead. As divine, I was created, empowered to stop the void. I was the avatar of the Seven, their strength and their weakness. My bond to them allowed me to drain them of their source.
Maggot, I am no slave. I am Brachus Rex. I am the Source King.
With a flick of her wrist, Dallas sends a jolt through Brachus's body.
Don't worry, he's well under control. He's made a fine servant. Isn't that right, ingrate?
Dallas punctuates her statement with another wrist flip. Brachus shudders, but his lips remain curled in a self-satisfied grimace.
I do not expect you to approve of my means, only the ends.
Come now. Even you have never shied from playing the villain when it's prudent. We're not nice. We're just right. Of course. The Voidwoken infestation was merely an inconvenient side effect. Scores of elves perished in death fog after Lucian. After the incident, and fewer elves meant fewer worshippers. Without worship, Tyrsendilius was deprived of source. He weakened, and so did the Veil. It was the opportunity the God King was waiting for. To strengthen himself, he sent his Voidwoken, the remnants of my people, to hunt down the sorcerers seeking to reclaim their source.
The Voidwoken. Disgusting things. They ravaged the land they touched and infected the air they breathed. You see, blaming the sorcerers for Voidwalken made them easier to capture.
The Eterran now contains almost all of the source the Seven stole. Soon, we will be able to heal the Veil.
The Void shall be banished, and I, Lucian the Divine, shall return from the dead. A false divine, of course. I shall have no power, but the world will not know this. I shall demand peace, and we shall have it.
The plan is almost complete.
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love. One last sacrifice is required. For the future of Rivellon, you must surrender your source.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward.
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. All of the source. We only lack yours.
As I say, one last sacrifice is required. Yours.
Alexander was Godwoken. Once, years ago, I should have killed Damien, but instead took him as my son. Quite the mistake. Now, I was forced to kill Alexander, my blood. But once more, I could not.
The task fell to me.
And me.
Good. You understand.
The world shall not know this. I shall return from the grave, a divine without power, yet all who desire power shall fear me. I shall carry the secret of my lack of divinity. Peace shall...
We already had more than...
Another sacrifice I was forced to make. Those beautiful people.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility, Father! Surrender your source!
Sealing the veil will lock our people away forever. They will never be free of the void. Though if they return, what becomes of this world?
Fane turns to you. In all the time that you've traveled together, you've never seen him like this.
And you, my fellow adventurers. Together we have seen more than generations of mortals could ever see. You have seen the horrors of the void, and I have seen this world through your eyes.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know of the sacrifice you'll make. Your name will be synonymous with the survival of Rivellon.
Don't let them do this to us.
But... our souls? There has to be another way.
No, never.
Good.
Yes, very good.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath Vredeman's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallas flicks her wrist. And nothing.
Oh, Dallas. Sweet, simple Dallas.
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. And don't look so surprised. As if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Me! They thought themselves well in control. But there is only one master. Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallas? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this. It was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him now.
Too late, you moldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! You dare interrupt Brachus Rex? How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? Ah! You were the fetid dirt on my boot. You are nothing at all. I am the Source King. I shall rule. The God King hears my call. He sends a companion worthy of my power. Come to your father, my friend. Come to the Source King.
Non l'ho preso. Cosa cazzo sta succedendo?
I'm ready.
Ancora Kraken. Mancato.
Feeding.
Rex, the Source King of Legend, lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis, badly weakened, looks to you.
The future of all that is depends on you, and you alone.
Wrong. About power, I mean. Was always kidding myself that I could only help my people if I were free. Lead them by example, you know. Thing is, I can never be free. So I must choose the dwarven people's liberty in exchange for my own. I know you'll have my back when I return to them, just like I've got yours.
Beast bows in return. There's no denying the glint in his eye. Whatever the future holds, he is game for it.
Well then, this is, as they say, I never dreamed that after all this, I would be standing here with one of your kind. Let alone that I would be proud to do so. I cannot imagine someone I would trust more with divinity, including myself.
Fane lays a bony hand on your shoulder, squeezing gently.
Do you know, I believe you will.
Listen, this is it. Again. And I want you to know I'm not putting up a fight, not against you. My revels are now ended. Yours are about to begin. I've had my vengeance, my life and my liberty. You helped me win them back. And then, when we made love, all of me awoke. All I want now is for this to end. To be by your side when we wage the final battle. And long, long after. I know there will. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready to face the darkest dark. You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. Divinity at your fingertips. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way, who stood by you or against you. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate, and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godworker. Dallas the Hammer, the secret Eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the Source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their Source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken. Freed from the weight of the world. As for me, the God-woken sacrifice severed the link that bound the sworn to the God-King. I was finally free. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the God-woken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever seen.
Well, look what the cat dragged in. A silent monk. At least that's what you would be if it weren't for nothing. To be fair, you are barely more powerful than one, now that the source has been ripped from you.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here she looks almost angelic.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god. In the end, I'm not totally convinced it was worth my while to restore your consciousness, seeing what you've done with it so far. Where did I go wrong? Unfortunately for me, I've grown rather fond of you. Still, I'd expected quite a bit more from you. I was interested in being owed a favor by a shiny new god, not some emperor of the realm. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask, covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not. Until we find out.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. But I must admit, that was rather noble of you. A world without source is one that will need individuals of wit and intellect. A sharp mind is the only magic now. I believe I shall enjoy this new world. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustafsson? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world. Beings that feed on minds.
I Mind Flyer.
I intend to seek them out. This Gustafsson seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, I settle for being the greatest mind in just one world, and there's another for the taking.
purging that once silenced you remains on your mind as you approach Gareth. You are grateful for Malady's miraculous touch.
Amazing I'm still here. That you're here. And that you might still speak. That Lucian... I only did what I was meant to do. I don't deserve thanks. I gave only the bare minimum. And still I strayed quite far.
Gareth shakes his head vigorously in response to his own emotions.
Self-pity is as dangerous as any man I have battled, Alexander included. In this new world, this world without the 7 gods, it's a foe I plan to defeat for good. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is. And so I find out. My goal is to have a goal. If that makes sense at all. And if it doesn't, well, that's all I've got.
You're here. And I'm here. If just barely. Thank the gods, or whomever, for Malady. One can hardly get to the truth without one's tongue, after all.
The shadow of a smile passes over her lips.
I'm glad to. I'll serve my people as best I can. I'm theirs now, and they are mine. But I won't forget what we shared. I'll never forget.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Let's do good. Both of us. We may as well serve as examples to the god we call our friend.
Losa looks at you intently, as...
Are you okay? You don't look okay.
Beast brushes detritus from his beard, sand, skin, and whatever else might have accumulated there. He takes a deep breath when he sees you.
I never thought I'd be smelling the sea breeze again. Figured we'd all be shuffling around as silent monks right now, so the air seems extra sweet, if you get what I'm saying. More malady magicalness, I'm guessing.
Beast's lips twitch, and his eyes glimmer.
What's the story, you want? The beast of the sea rose triumphant, guiding his fellow God-woken from an island prison to a final hurrah. He boarded the Lady Vengeance, now inexplicably whole due to magic a beast could never understand, and returned to his homeland. Then began the process of rebuilding, restoring trust, handing out hope, serving his people. Huh. Guess that one doesn't really end with a bang. But that's all right, you know.
Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering to himself.
I see. Intriguing.
He glances up at you. Big.
Well, there you are. Another fine specimen of your kind. A little leaner than when we first met, and a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine. As do I, it seems. Whatever that life might be.
Fane looks back down to the book, a bony finger running across the embossed leather cover.
It could have been different, you know? I could have saved them. I could have found a way. No. I imagine you can't. I imagine no one can. But the cards were dealt, and my people got snake eyes. Or something. I never took the time to learn how the average Rivellonian entertained themselves. Then again, you are no average Rivellonian. Not after this. So, what do you think you'll do, now that we live in a source-free world? Indeed. I may be one of them. It seems we are all facing a brave new world.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder.
No.
It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Simply that to see the true beauty of a thing, sometimes you have to look at it as an outsider, as someone with fresh eyes, if you will. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly octopuses? Octopi? Octopods. Oh, I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever truly created or destroyed. I suppose we are all Source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, less jewel-encrusted form, naturally. But my people were Source too, although we didn't know it at the time. In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire time. In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwalker.
I am here to serve, Master, in this realm and any other, for as long as I must. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but I cannot say whether the future brings peace or pain. But I am bidden to serve you, as promised one.
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above, not below.
look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. Justinia returns to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar became mayor, and Brayton Barnes grew rich, until, after a public argument over import duties, Barnes died in an accident, buried under several tons of fish, and also stabbed in the back with a gutting knife. Your lizard lover finally returned to the ancient Lizard Empire, there to found the newest and most popular of all the houses, the House of Love. After a long and harrowing journey, Lovric the Waiter arrived in Sicile, where he opened a tavern. The meaty stew became famed almost as much for its food as it was for its greasy, abusive owner. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea.
Ancora.
You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled down on the farm. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. She presumed she had them in thrall. The truth was, they just liked her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Mordus scratched out a living, ending up as a short-order cook. After an epiphany arising from the phrase, sunny side up, he started a religion. Upon his death from food poisoning, all 3 of his followers committed suicide. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more, amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Only the new mother kept Sahala's plans for revenge from fruition. But the mother had a secret weapon. Tova, Sahala's mother, keeps Sahala's anger at bay. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, not as a rebel, but as a lawmaker. Merciful and wise, he led the dwarves into an age of prosperity. His grave looks out over the sea. His run-in with his daughter set Fane on a new path. He travelled Rivellon, recording the wonders he discovered, but always kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals. He hoped to find the wife he'd lost, but he never did. Then again, he's still looking. As the new mother, Sebille found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sebille swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more human among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Ovviamente faccio ammenda. E qui finisce Divinity 2. E quindi ho salvato il mondo. Come ho già fatto... come faccio sempre, d'altronde. Bellissimo. Bellissimo la quest finale, l'incontro, lo scontro alla fine. L'ho trovato veramente ben fatto, anche perché fare un ennesimo combattimento di un'ora contro i supereroi più incredibili non sarebbe stata cosa. Secondo me l'hanno gestito bene. Poi dipende dalla scelta che fai, perché se vai contro Lucian chiaramente ti tocca, immagino, ti tocca combattere tutta quella merda. Mi sa che è uno scontro mezzo impossibile, quindi va benissimo così. Sicuramente uno dei GDR più belli che abbiamo mai giocato. Ah, che meraviglia questo pezzo.
to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Listen, do you hear it? Listen, do you feel it? Listen, I'm calling you. Listen, you do know me. Listen, swing and roll me. Listen, I'm calling you. You are enough.
finisce qui l'avventura su Divinity 2. Porterò un altro GDR, penso, Pillars of Eternity, con il quale inizieremo completamente da capo, non come Divinity 2 che l'abbiamo preso in corsa. E grazie per aver seguito la serie. Se qualcuno vedrà mai questo video fino alla fine, e ti ringrazio, tu che stai guardando, e hasta luego al prossimo GDR.